Love doesn't just happen in a moment. It travels through centuries, carried on letters, by brave choices. And in the quiet way two people decide to keep showing. I want to walk you through 5 secrets that changed love throughout history, secrets that aren't about magic, but about persistence, voice, and the home we build with another person. 5 tiny pivots that created bigger. And if you're listening because you've needed a glimmer of hope, you'll hear how ordinary moments can become extraordinary when 2 hearts refuse to give up. Secret 1: Words that wait for you. For most of history, love spoke in letters when hands couldn't touch and eyes couldn't meet. A line scrawled in hopeful ink, folded and tucked away, carried a heartbeat across miles. The power of the written word gave lovers a map when the road home was uncertain. Think of the old letters between Heloise and Abelard. Or a note tucked beneath a pillow. Or a diary entry that finally found its reader long after the day's light had faded. Letters let love be patient where bodies could not be. They let vulnerability bloom in careful, deliberate sentences. Not in fevered declarations shouted at a crowded square. And there's something deeply intimate in a confession that arrives as ink on paper, rather than as a shout into the wind. It's as if the slower pace of writing taught lovers to listen, to choose their words with care, to trust that longing can mature into something lasting. Yet letters aren't only relics of the past. Their echoes still guide readers today. In a world that moves fast, a letter invites a pause, a ritual of reading, a moment when a voice discovers its own tenderness and offers it to another. The secret here isn't merely communication. It's the art of waiting together, of building anticipation, of making the ordinary act of saying I'm here into something you can keep. In a story you'll hear tonight, the lovers return to old letters as if stepping into a familiar doorway, reminding themselves that courage can begin with a single line and a fragile hope. Secret 2: Choosing love when the world weighs in. History shows love as a choice, even when the choice is not easy. Social structures, families, class, duty often tried to direct whom we should love. Yet there were sparks that burned brighter than the constraints. The courage to say, I will love this person, on my own terms, shifted hearts and even laws. Elizabeth Barrett Browning and Robert Browning are a beautiful example. 2 poets who chose each other against the pressure of status and expectation, whose private devotion carved a path toward public admiration. Their letters and courted silence spoke of a love that could endure the world's scrutiny when many others believed love should bow to convention. The secret here is not rebellion for rebellion's sake, but the belief that love deserves a chance to grow, even when society tries to keep it contained. When lovers have the power to choose, they write a new chapter for what a relationship can be. Across centuries, choosing love also meant choosing growth. Lovers learned to make space for a partner's voice, to share burdens, and to grow into 2 halves that fit together not by sameness but by complement. It's the quiet decision to show up on the days when the dread of the world threatens to erase the day's sweetness. When we hear these stories now, we're reminded that love doesn't ask us to surrender our dreams, it invites us to widen them. To imagine a life where 2 people can pursue their best selves side by side. The secret of choice becomes a compass, guiding us toward relationships built on mutual respect, trust, and the shared courage to grow, even when the path isn't perfectly paved. Secret 3: The ritual of declaration, and the courage to stand before others. There was a time when love's most honest expression required witnesses the moment 2 people stood where the world could see and said yes to the vow. When a partner chose to declare their love openly, it was not a small thing. It was a reweaving of social fabric. The rise of salons, the rise of personal courts of opinion, and eventually the ritual of engagement and marriage brought love into the public square. It wasn't simply about joining 2 people. It was about inviting a circle of friends, families, and communities to witness a promise, to offer support, to share in the responsibility of care. The secret here lies in turning private tenderness into a shared story. In creating a social artifact, a ring, a ceremony, a vow that says, we are accountable to this love, not just to ourselves, but to all who lean on us. Public declarations also offered new language for commitment. They gave lovers a vocabulary of trust that could travel beyond the moment of passion. When voices in the crowd cheered or when a held breath hovered as the couple spoke their vows, love found a public home. Today, we may exchange messages across screens. But the power of words spoken aloud, of a chosen name, a pledged future, a promise spoken into a shared life, still carries the same ancient. You'll hear the echoes in your own circles. Proposals whispered on the porch. Brides and grooms announcing new chapters. Friends lifting glasses to the health of a pair who dared to commit. The secret is not simply romance-esque growth, but love's invitation to become a story that others can borrow or dream about for themselves. Secret 4: Rings, Symbols, and the Art of Marking a Turning Point. A circle has no end. And in that simplicity lies a kind of reassurance: someone else has chosen you. And you have chosen them in return. The symbol of the ring travels through time and culture. Origins threaded in many legends. A universal signal that a life is grafted to another's life. The ritual of gifting and wearing a ring crystallizes a moment into memory. It turns a momentary spark into a perpetual reminder. Commitment is visible, undeniable. The secret here isn't only the ring itself, but the meaning it conveys. It's an invitation to return to the core promise again and again when the days feel ordinary. When the energy of romance slides toward routine, the ring becomes a quiet vow to keep choosing one another. To hold on to what first drew two people close. And to protect it with intention when the world demands hurry. In stories you'll hear, rings often appear, or in moments of unseen labor, sealing a decision that will shape the lives that follow. But symbols are alive when they travel. Different cultures have given rings different styles, settings, and meanings. Yet all share the same silent agreement. Love isn't a fleeting feeling, it's a practiced, daily decision to show up with care. The secret is the shared ritual that teaches us to notice, to honor, and to remember. When we see a character accept a ring or trade vows, we're reminded that a symbol is not merely decor. It's a blueprint for how to live together, how to weather storms, and how to find joy in the ordinary hours that make up a lifetime. Secret 5: Belonging, Community, and the Social Embrace of Love. Historically, love has thrived where communities choose to welcome it rather than fear it. When societies learn to protect and nurture couples, whether through family networks, friends, or institutions that foster care and support, love found a home. In modern chapters, the struggle for acceptance has expanded the definition of who is allowed to love and who can be loved in return. The secret here is not just about romance as a private treasure, but about how a village, a city, a country can behave toward it. When communities celebrate unions between two people, when they offer safety and resources for families to grow, love becomes contagious in the best possible way. The more we see stories where people are free to love who they choose, the more we learn to open our arms and our hearts to possibilities we might have once dismissed. And so, love becomes not only a personal journey but a shared habit, and everyday practice of kindness, respect, and inclusion. In the end, the 5 secrets are not relics of the past. They're living threads in the fabric of any romance worth dreaming about. Words that endure, choices made with courage, ceremonies that honor commitment, symbols that keep promises visible, and communities that protect love's space to grow. When you piece them together, you see a map. A map that shows how love changes, how it survives, and how it returns to us when life feels ordinary or when hope starts to feel distant. These are the lessons history offers to us tonight: the quiet, stubborn truth that love is not a single moment of magic but a series of everyday acts that, in time, become something truly magical. If you've carried skepticism in your heart, Perhaps these 5 seeds can plant a new garden in your own life. A garden where patience, voice, risk, ritual, and belonging work together to reveal a future in which love isn't just possible, it's inevitable. With a little faith and a lot of kindness. If you've stayed with me to the end, you've heard the chorus of history singing the same core message. Love grows best when it's tended with intention, shared openly, and cherished by a circle that sees 2 people not as separate from the world, but as a catalyst for the world becoming kinder. History didn't change love by magic. It changed love by making space for people to be seen, heard, and held. And that is a secret worth keeping and worth passing on to the next chapter of your own romance. So tonight, wherever your story sits humming softly in the background of a busy life or blazing with a new flame, may you feel inspired to tend your love with courage, to speak your truth with gentleness, and to remember that even small acts, repeated with care, can become history in their own right. Con tutto indisponibile.